And here we are, and welcome. I'm on my talk and walk, or as I call it, my walk and talk. And I have ideas today. Finally back out walking, and then I'm going to be gone for some time getting some blind skill training through the VA, which will be good. I'll come back with some more skills, some tools, some experiences. It's a long time. I miss home, but it's always a good time learning skills and stuff. As you can see, the sun is out. It was still cold. It almost dropped to freezing last night. I felt like it was freezing in my house, even though it wasn't. Have you smashed those buttons? So, when I had vision in my 20s, one of my jobs was valet in Portland, Oregon. I actually liked the job. I don't really know if there's any jobs that I did not like that was customer facing, where I had to interact with people. Obviously, there were people that weren't as pleasant as some. A few stories. One, so the lot we were on was an open air lot, and it was a lot of people going into work in the city. So we had this one thing called the pit. I believe it was like 6 cars wide and 6 deep or something like that, to give you an idea. And so we called it the pit. And in the mornings, it was the training lot. So they had a lot of the people there and a couple of supervisors. And as the commuters would come in, they would just dump all the cars in the pit if they were there for the day. And then when me and my partner came in at about 10, usually what would happen is he would spend the first 2 hours rearranging the pit, because we knew the cars and the people that were going to leave early, so he would put those cars in front and bury the deep cars. So this one time, this one person comes in and he's just being rude and condescending and telling us how to do our own jobs and all this fun stuff. And I think he offhandedly made a comment that he'll be back like after lunch. He was there for a meeting or something. And so we spent a good 20 minutes, okay Cameron, hop up, pulling out cars in the pit and burying his all the way deep. And then when he came back to get his car, he had to wait for us, well, my partner, because I pretended that I couldn't leave to do that. I had to watch the booth and make sure that anybody else that came in got to park. And so he had to wait for my partner all by himself to empty out the row of cars in front of his before he could leave. Slight revenge. Probably cost him 10 minutes, 15 minutes for being rude, because I know my partner took his time. Another time, there was this guy who came in and we parked his car, no big deal. He came back and pointed to a car that looked like the car he parked in. And so we grabbed him the keys and he walked over to it, and he immediately comes back and starts screaming at us for stealing his stuff. Smash buttons. And while my friend is checking that out and we call a supervisor, I'm looking at the keys on the board, and there's another set of rental car keys on the board because his car was a rental. And I looked at them and I walked over and go, "Are these your keys?" He goes, "No, these are my keys." And I said, "Are these your keys? You should check this car out before you continue to yell at us about theft." And he just glared at me. And he snatched those keys from my hand. And he walked down to the car and he left. He said nothing. So by the time the supervisor came back, we told him what had happened. And the supervisor yelled at us to be more careful about the keys. And we said, One of the Other interesting things about that job was in the mid-90s, it was the first time I ever got in a car that had automatic seat adjustment. It was a Lexus. And so I get in and the person didn't put it in valet. And all of a sudden it starts pushing me towards the steering wheel and moving forward. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I turned off the ignition before it set the seat completely for a person that's probably 5'1", 5'2". I don't remember exactly how tall she was, but she was short. And figured out where the button was and switched it into valet and was able to park her car, because neither one of us would have been able to with it automatically adjusting. Got to drive all sorts of cars. You know, people pull in a convertible Mustang and we'd have to park that. So you got used to driving all sorts of different cars, from Mercedeses to Jaguars. I wonder how much different it is now with all the electric and different dashboards and setups. The interesting thing about that job is I think their only open air lot. So instead of being parking garage, it was, like I said, an entire city block with a quarter of it taken out at the time. I think now, at least last time I was up there, the whole block was now parking. But that job I liked. It was terrible in the winter, and in the summer we had a space heater in our little booth that both of us could barely fit in. And during the summertime we had no air conditioning. Thankfully there was a store right across the street that we could go get water and snacks and stuff from. We were close enough to the Portland Orchestra that I got to meet the conductor. He was really nice. One time we got free tickets to the symphony. One of the other people that I met that worked there was the photographer for one of the strip club newspapers. I don't know if this has changed. I don't think so. But at the time there were two different magazines. I called them newspapers because they were newsprint, if I remember right, not actual like glossy paper. And he was a photographer for one of them. And I always found it amusing that Portland had enough strip clubs to have two papers strictly about the strip clubs in the city. Well, on that note, I'll remind you that I'm taking a hiatus from Uncool Music News, but there's still lots of content there if you want to go check it out. Old music news, silliness. I do have a newsletter. The link will be below in the description. You should totally get that. It's free. And as all newsletters do, it'll go right to your mailbox, your email, not your physical mailbox, of course. Also here on this channel, I have music. I have some 47 songs. In 2 months, it'll be up to somewhere in the 70s, I believe. Yeah, I don't remember math. Math is hard. Sorry, Barbie, didn't mean to steal your line. Bad toy. That was such a bad toy. Well, check out my content. Smash the like button. Tickle the subscribe button. Share it with anybody that you hate or love. As long as they watch it, that's cool. Thanks. Love and peace.